Mexico's success in the World Cup is unifying Mexico and the US. Cocaine and heroin supplies hit record highs globally. Colombia authorizes the use of drones to fumigate coca leaf crops, and the leading US nail manufacturer could move to Mexico to avoid trade tariffs. Hello and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm Elliot Bullman. Let's go to the information. The Miami-based network Telemundo, which has Spanish language rights to the World Cup in the United States, reported that it scored 7.4 million viewers on television and elsewhere for Mexico's upset of Germany, which was 3 million more than watched on Fox, the English language rights holder. Fox, too, scored record viewership, and the announcers for the Mexico-Germany game included Mariano Trujillo, a former Mexican national team member who easily switched to English to provide insights for his Anglo viewers. El Tri's star forward Carlos Vela is well known in the United States as he has a day job playing for Major League Soccer's Los Angeles Football Club. Other teammates also play in the MLS. These notable immigrants are being cheered on in record numbers in the United States. The US failed to qualify for the World Cup after a humiliating defeat in Trinidad and Tobago in front of 1,500 fans in the last qualifying game. Mexico, on the other hand, not only qualified, but is playing beyond expectations and has quickly become the USA's adopted team for the World Cup. It seems that despite immigration and trade issues, the World Cup is demonstrating how Mexico and Mexican Americans are deeply entwined in the fabric that is America. And part of that fabric is soccer, which is now America's most popular sport by participation. In other news, supplies of cocaine in 2016 and opium from 2016 to 2017 hit their highest ever recorded levels, according to the 2018 World Drug Report released by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime earlier this week. Non-medical use of prescription drugs such as fentanyl are also becoming a major threat to public health, increasingly contributing to overdose deaths, particularly in the United States. Globally, deaths from drug use reached an estimated 450,000 in 2015. Nearly 40% of those deaths resulted from the direct result of drug use, primarily overdoses from opioids. The remaining 60% of those deaths were attributable to the indirect use of drugs such as HIV and hepatitis C, obtained from unsafe injections. The report also found that fentanyl and its analogues remain particularly problematic in the United States and Canada, while the use of non-medical tramadol, another type of opioid painkiller, is increasing in Asia and soaring in parts of Africa, the report found. Surprisingly, drug use among older generations, those aged 40 and above, is increasing at a faster rate than younger demographics. In the United States, drug use among those 50 and older increased 7 times between 1996 and 2016. The report also found that women, accounting for 33% of drug users, consume far less than men. However, once women do begin consuming, they are much more likely to become drug dependent than men, the report says. Curtailing supplies of cocaine and heroin is much more complicated. In 2016, an estimated 1,410 tons of cocaine were produced globally, the highest ever level reported. Between 2016 and 2017, global opium production jumped to 10,500 tons, the most amount ever recorded by the UNODC. Following on from this story, Colombia's President Juan Manuel Santos has authorized the use of drones to fumigate coca leaf crops as part of a strategy to reduce it by 50% in the next 5 years. The South American country, one of the world's largest producers of cocaine, had suspended fumigations from aircraft with glyphosate since May 2015 after receiving a warning from the World Health Organization that it considered the chemical as potentially carcinogenic and harmful to the environment. The decision was adopted at a meeting of the National Council of Narcotics a day after the United States revealed that coca leaf crops in Colombia rose to 209,000 hectares by the end of 2017, and that the capacity to produce cocaine had increased to 920 tons per year. Today we're discussing the use of so-called drones, unmanned aircraft that, due to their height, are assimilated to ground, not aerial fumigation, Santos said at the end of the meeting, in which he announced that by 2018, Colombia's goal is to eradicate 110,000 hectares, 70,000 in forced form and 40,000 hectares with voluntary substitution of crops. Colombia recently recognized an area of 180,000 hectares cultivated with coca leaf by the end of 2017 and ratified a plan to reduce the area sown to 90,000 hectares in the next 5 years with the help of Washington. In other news, the company Mid-Continent Nail, the main manufacturer of nails in the United States, said that the tariffs imposed on the import of steel in the United States could force it to close or transfer its production to Mexico. The company, based in the Poplar Bluff community of Missouri, is in danger of closing production before Labor Day, unless the Department of Commerce grants it an exclusion of payment of fees, said spokesperson James Glassman. Glassman warned that Mid-Continent Nail is on the verge of extinction, which blamed the tariff of 25% on the import of steel imposed by President Donald Trump. Glassman reported that orders for nails have fallen by 50% after the company raised its prices to cope with higher steel costs, and that it was forced to lay off 60 of its 500 workers last week. He also added that the company could move to Mexico to be able to buy the steel without tariffs and then export the finished nails to the United States without tariffs, since these rates only apply to raw materials. Glassman called President Trump's trade policy misguided, noting that the company had doubled its workforce since 2013 and prospered despite China's growing competition. The US Chamber of Commerce has estimated that 2.6 million jobs are at risk in this country due to President Trump's commercially protectionist policies. And finally, let's review the markets. The Mexican peso decreased 0.98% to 19.98 from 20.17 in the previous trading session. On the other hand, the IPC Mexico decreased 0.07% to 46,874 from 46,909 in the previous trading session. This was all for today. Thank you for your company. I'm Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.
Síguenos en nuestras redes sociales: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, solo por México News Network Televisión.